Why did no one tell me that there were gay bog bodies? Because that feels like something that I, a gay archaeologist, should have known, and I'm mad that I didn't. Also, as a note, if you don't want to see those bog bodies, now is your chance to scroll. I get if you don't, they are just sort of skin that has been preserved, and it doesn't look great. So, this is your warning. In 1904, in peat bogs in the Netherlands, these two individuals were found and they were buried side by side with their arms sort of wrapped around each other, which allowed early researchers to potentially interpret them as a couple. Known as the Verdinger couple, they date between 160 BCE and 220 CE. When they were first discovered, they knew that one of them was male because that one had his pelvic area still intact and that area still had his manhood. So they knew that that one was male, but the other didn't have as well of preserved pelvic area, so they couldn't tell. However, in the 90s, when re examining these, someone did notice that the one without a preserved pelvic area did have some stubble on their chin, suggesting they might have been male. And since then, they have done DNA testing that has confirmed that that was a male as well, so two males, and also that they weren't biologically related, so this isn't a brother situation or a father son situation. Of the two individuals, we know how one of them passed because they have a slash across their stomach and their bowels are on the outside. So that one seemed to have died in a less than pleasant way. The other one, we don't know how they passed. And given the aggressive nature of this one's passing, there is two major theories that are sort of floating around about how they passed. One of them is that they were warriors who passed in battle and were buried beside each other. The other is that they might have been an offering or a sacrifice and, executed for this purpose. Also, if they were sacrificed, it has been suggested that them being queer might be why they were chosen to be a sacrifice, because there are cultures that in the past saw queer people as sort of liminal beings, so between worlds, and in this case, they could have been between our world and the spiritual world, and thus, that might be why they had to, move on a bit quicker. But what do you think? Were they queer? Were they warriors? Were they sacrifices? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this sort of queer archaeology content, well, this is part of my Pride Month series, so go through the backlog and stick around for more. Interact so I keep appearing on your For You page.